discussions, and we're getting our kids organized because they probably need it. Maybe they need to help us, right? So, Kristin, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, it's good to see you.
You too.
So when we are helping our kids get organized, what are some of the things that we need to look at? When do we know that we need to get our kids organized?
So I'd say first grade's a great time.
Okay.
They believe it or not, they kind of know what they want. They know where things need to go in their rooms. Maybe they have dance classes or sports or whatever, and they can start learning how to function in their rooms. So I'd say first grade is a good time to kind of sit them down and talk to them about getting organized. Sure.
So when we are moving along with the organization process, you were saying that's a good time because some of the clients that you've worked with, they're actually the ones, you've worked with these kids on their own and they're actually doing it. They know what they want. Yeah. They're hanging up the clothes on their own.
Exactly. Believe it or not, if you sit them down, we're going to get into some questions about that, but they know what they want if you just take the time to talk to them. And believe it or not, they do know how they want to function.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into this. And you were saying that it's always a good idea to work with your kids and not just take over 100%. So it's always a good idea to have a discussion.
Right, because sometimes when you tell your child to go straight in their room, if the parents are disorganized and the house is in chaos and the kids don't have any systems in place, they don't know what straight in their room means. There's no systems, so they end up just throwing it in a corner or in a pile in their closet, and they think the room's clean because it's out of sight or it's just contained in a pile.
That's kind of the way that I did it growing up. You just put it in a pile. Done. Go play.
Right. So when both parents are disorganized, they can't transfer that skill set to the child, or it works the other way where both parents are organized, but they do everything for the child.
Yeah.
So either way, the child can't develop that skill set, and so when you tell them to straighten their room, they don't know what that means. So going forward, when they have those systems in place, you won't have to tell them to straighten their room again because things are going to get put back in the systems where they belong.
So we're going to talk about some things that you can have a discussion about with your child.
Yes.
So, but you were saying before you begin tackling these areas, we're going to talk about some questions to keep in mind, some things you want to talk about with your child. So we're going to talk about those things.
Yes.
Okay, so one thing that you might want to talk about with your kid is, do you feel overwhelmed in any area of your life?
Right, and sit them down in the bedroom if you're going through the bedroom and say, listen, where are you feeling overwhelmed? The kids might say, I'm stressed out, I can't find clothes in the morning, I'm touching clothes that don't fit me, I don't know where I'm going for these clothes, it's all over the room. They're going to tell you where they're overwhelmed. Maybe it's their homework space, maybe the desk is covered in clutter and they can't actually sit to do their homework. Yeah. So that might be overwhelming. They might get overwhelmed with their sports equipment. You might say, go get your sports equipment, and they're like, I don't know where my shoe is. There's a shoe in the bag, but the other shoe isn't there. So just, sit them down and ask, where are you overwhelmed? What's bothering you about this room? And they probably will have the answer. So.
Yeah, I don't know where my backpack is, or I don't know where my pencils are in my backpack, or maybe they're always looking for their tablet because they probably are not doing homework on paper anymore. Let's be serious, Molly. So sitting them down and asking them the questions, having an open dialogue.
Exactly, and have that pen and paper there that'll write that down, or in the tablet, so you can start taking notes for them. So when you're creating those systems, you can build off these questions.
Okay, so the next thing that you want to talk to your child about is, how are you functioning in your room?
Yeah, they might say, all right, obviously they're probably not functioning if they're disorganized. And you want to see where their clothes are in the drawers, how they're grabbing them, how they're grabbing their homework materials. So how are you functioning? They might say, I'm not functioning. And that's where the conversation will go towards, all right, how do you want to function? How do you want to grab clothes? And things like that.
So, don't you think it's important along this line for your kids to have input? So
they have to.
I want to be able to grab my shoes from the floor. I want, my shoes to be hanging up. Or, I think it'd be cool to put my clothes under my bed.
Right, exactly. Like, for instance, I was with the first grader and I said, do you want to put your skirts here? She's like, no, I want them on that side of the closet. So she knew where she wanted them. So if the parents set up these systems, they're not the ones functioning with it. The kids are. So ask your kids how they want to grab their shoes, how they want to grab their skirts and shirts and things, and they're going to have that answer. Because if you want them to maintain these systems and put things away, they have to develop these, or you can help them develop these systems, but it has to be how they function, not how the parent functions, if they want to give that independence to that child to put things away.
Have you seen a certain age, or have you seen it become harder for parents to give up that control? in certain cases, or do you think that it works better when the parent says, okay, what do you want to do, and they work with their kids?
Most of the time it's when asking them those questions and what do you want to do and go from there. And most of the clients I have, the parents are both disorganized, so what they do is they leave me alone with the child to help them set up those systems, because it's difficult for the parents, no fault to them, but it's difficult for them to create those systems when they can't create their own systems. So they'll leave me with the child and say, all right, and then I'll have that conversation. But it's hard for the parent to actually start creating those systems, so the kids can't draw from them.
So
when
I see what you mean. Sense. Okay, so another question that you want to ask your child, talk to your child about, is what systems are working, if any?
Again, functioning, and then the systems. We always talk about the systems. Every time I think I'm here, we say the word systems. It's so important. They might have an area that's working for them now. In their desk drawer, maybe there's supplies and they're in drawer organized, and that's working. So let them continue to function with that system. Tweak whatever's not working to make it work better for them. And you might have to tear apart the whole room and start from the beginning and then create those new systems.
So, socks in the upper left-hand drawer and undies right next to them and tank tops right next to them. And if the kids say, this works for me, or rip them all out and go from there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Next one, do you have a place for everything in your room?
The kids should have a home for everything. If they have dance or sports, there should be a dedicated spot in their room for that, because when you say, let's go grab your stuff for sports, they should be able to go to that spot immediately. Again, efficiency. Saving time, not wasting time, grabbing it and running out the door. That bag should always be packed. Other things, having a home for just the clothes, each drawer. I have a drawer for your pajamas, a drawer for everything should have a home. Homework spaces. A drawer should be dedicated to something. Each drawer should have its own dedicated things in that drawer. So everything should have a home. The simpler the systems, again, the easier they're going to be to follow. Create those simple systems and make sure everything has a home.
Do you think certain ages labels can help?
Of course,
whether it's a label maker or whether I've seen some of our friends have kids and they have like the chalkboard paint and have all that kind of stuff.
Perfect. Just until they get in the habit. Even it's great for the parents too if they're putting laundry away for the kids. Yeah. Just when they're getting used to these systems, and they have like removable tape, so it's not, it doesn't stick to them, ruin your furniture. So for the kids in the beginning, sure, label the drawers, do whatever you can to help them, that's going to help them maintain that system so you're not on top of them every day telling them to put things away. Even when it comes to laundry, get them in the habit of putting their own laundry away. Moms are overwhelmed today with laundry. They're just so overwhelmed.
Aren't we all overwhelmed with laundry, right?
So it's a good idea to maybe put the clean clothes in their room and get the kids in the habit of putting their clothes away. Now they know where they go. They're going to have those systems in place. That's one less thing the parents have to do, and it's giving that child a little responsibility about putting things away. And in those labeled drawers, definitely get them labeled, sure.
And some kids probably want to take ownership, this is my room, this is my stuff. So they'll probably take ownership and feel some pride in saying, yeah, I made this is my stuff.
Exactly, and the kids have the same reaction when I'm done organizing the parents, because the kids are like, oh my god, I feel so good, this is my room, like I feel so good, everything has a home. Like they have that same end result that the parents do. They just feel great. It's like that cathartic experience everybody describes it to be.
Yeah.
So the kids feel great too.
Okay, so another question, are you keeping track of project due dates and events?
Again, give your kids that responsibility. Give them a calendar, whether it's paper or electronic. Nobody says you have to get rid of paper. Paper is a great way for them to see the weeks ahead right in front of them, like a blotter kind of thing, that they can see what's going on for the month.
Hang it on the wall.
Yeah, exactly. Let them keep track. I mean, you can, if you want to keep track of those projects too. Yeah, exactly. The parents can still keep track of it, but at least give your kids the independence of knowing when things are coming up, when their projects are due, when events are due. So again, that takes a little bit off of you, where you might still be monitoring them, but at least you know they have a system now, because going forward in high school, it's going to be so important for them to keep, in college, and in our afterlife after college. So get them in the habit of doing that now.
And do you see that in kids' rooms, having a calendar? Does that help?
Yes.
Know the days of the week, keep track of time management?
Of course.
I mean, even if it's soccer practice.
That's what you want to do.
That.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I had a 6th grader I was working with. She was the president of her class. She had a lot of things coming up on the calendar. I said, let's get it on this calendar on your wall in the bedroom. And she's like, it's great because I can go right to it. It's that mental clutter. These kids today have so many things going on that it releases that mental clutter, puts it on a calendar, and they can see what's coming up for the month and they can plan for it.
So, band practice, assignment due. And do you ever find that kids Do they feel more overwhelmed if they're seeing it in front of them, or does it make them feel more at ease once they have it laid out?
I think it's more at ease when they have it laid out. Again, even for adults, the mental clutter. So it affects kids the same way when they hold on to all that. At least they can see if they have a band concert coming up. They can say, oh, I have an outfit I need to get for that, or I have to put my instrument together. And the night before, they can stop planning for that.
Yeah.
And again, that mental clutter, getting it out of your head. So seeing it on paper is less overwhelming because it's out and they can just plan ahead for it.
Okay. So whether it's on the wall or maybe on your desk,
Whatever
something
works.
like that, or make it fun. I remember I was like using
Stickers.
colored stickers, colored pens, everything, sparkly ink, that kind of thing.
Yeah, whatever works, whatever's going to make them maintain it and love the system, then have them do it.
Then have them do it. Okay, great. Okay, so let's get to it. Once you've asked and you've sat down with your kids or sat down with whomever, get those things out, then you get to the organizing. And we're talking about the bedroom. Really thinking about when the last time that you went in through the closet and you thought about all those clothing items.
Yeah, so what I find with kids that I'm working with, again, when I'm working with them on one-on-one, I find that there's a lot of clothes that don't fit them. And again, it's no fault.
Kids grow fast.
Yes, and it's no fault by the parents. It's just people are busy. They can't get in there to get to the closet. But I want you to think about efficiency. How many times the kids are touching things that don't fit them, or they're getting stressed out in the morning because they're throwing stuff out of their closet that doesn't fit, and now the parents say, why are your clothes all over the floor? And they're like, well, half of these don't fit. So it's having that conversation, going through the whole closet, taking things out that don't fit, so now they're just working with a closet of items that fit. And believe it or not, there's going to be tons of stuff in there that you're going to get rid of.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, like when we move out of the closet, we're looking at baby books and all kinds of little mementos like that.
Yeah.
What do we do with this kind of stuff?
So I find the mementos, that memorabilia is a lot because the kids don't have a box. So it ends up under the bed. It ends up in drawers. It's all over the room. So if another project for this weekend, another homework assignment. Gather up all the memorabilia in the room and maybe create a box. It could be a pretty box. It could be a masculine box for the guys. It could be anything. Get it in a box. Get it contained. So now when things come in the house, it's going to be contained and it won't end up all over the bedroom.
Don't leave it in the kids' room.
Pack
it up because they might not want it in there.
Exactly.
If they want it in there.
Right. Yeah, I was in a high school boy's closet not too long ago, and he had all memorabilia from elementary school. I said, let's pack all this up and put it in the attic or put it in the basement in the seal-type bin. He was like, yeah, why didn't I think of that? You don't need to be looking at that, like, the baby books and things like that. Nobody says you have to get rid of them, but they don't need to live in the closet space when you're in high school. Like, it doesn't have to be there taking up space, precious space of things that you're working with now, or new memorabilia that's coming in for high school.
Yeah.
So not get rid of it, but put it in a seal type bin, label it, put it away, so that way when you want to reminisce, it's there.
Okay. And take inventory, you say, of the entire bedroom.
Yeah, with little girls, you have hair accessories, jewelry, dance clothes, what's in your kid's bedroom.
All kinds of stuff.
Take inventory of everything. If you can't do it in a 3-hour session, you don't want to hold them for 3 hours. Believe it or not, you might not think your kids can focus for 3 hours, but I've held their focus for 3 hours by they're not on the electronics. You make it fun, you keep them motivated, you keep them focused, they'll do it. But when you bring in those distractions, they're going to get distracted and want to leave the room. So it's a matter of, even if you don't want to do a 3-hour session, start with the clothes, work on that. Another day, go back, work on the accessories, jewelry, then work on the desk. So break it up into projects, or you can tackle a 3-hour session.
Okay. And so let's talk just briefly before we let you go.
Yeah.
If we are getting out of the closet, out of the clothes, and move into the desk, let's kind of talk a little bit about the homework space if we are looking at the desk. And how do we tackle that?
Again, if you're just tackling the desk, you want to take everything off the desk. Empty the entire desk down to bare drawers, everything. Categorize everything out on the bed. Have a trash bag handy because you're going to throw out some things. Purchase drawer organizers for all the pencils, the utensils, things like that, the writing instruments. Line the drawer with those, and then talk to your child about how they're functioning. Do they need hanging files? Are they old enough where they need to store paper and file paper? Do you need to get them a portable filing box, or is there a filing drawer in that desk? Again, talk to them how they want to function with their desk. Streamline the top of it so they can actually sit and work at it. Don't keep.
It's not cereal bowls.
Yeah, don't keep a lot on the desk. Don't keep a lot
all
on
that
the
kind
desk.
of stuff, right?
Don't keep a lot on the desk. Yeah, talk to them about. All right, you have this clear space now. You organize the drawers the way you want to because you're going to be grabbing this stuff. How do you want to function going forward? And how can we maintain this? Like when you're done with things, they're going to go back in the drawer, that kind of thing. So now, most kids are doing their homework in the dining room because the desk is so cluttered. So make that a priority to clear that desk off if your child wants to do the homework in the bedroom. Some don't even want to be in the bedroom, but it might not. It might be because they don't want to be in the bedroom because they're overwhelmed with their room and they feel claustrophobic in their room, and it's not conducive to homework. And so once their room is organized and they have a clear space and the energy is really good, they might want to do their homework in their room. And right now, it might not be a good place for them to do it because they're just claustrophobic in the room and the energy is not good.
And they need that clear thinking space.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, like you said, concentrating, being able to concentrate. And another thing, too, is whether there's a computer involved or not. So making sure there's a space. Safe, comfortable,
make sure the chairs are ergonomically correct, that they're sitting right. All that kind of stuff comes into play, too. Because, again, if you're not comfortable at your desk, you're not going to want to sit there. And if you want your kids to be there. I had another client that I was working with where we went in and the child had like a roll top desk, the old school roll top, where the secretary desk.
Like
yeah. So I said, and he wasn't sitting there, and he's getting older, and I said, you know what, he needs a new desk. Clear space desk, nothing overhead. They were all like pockets in the. So it was very hard I would think it would be hard to work at. That's what I thought.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem to fit for a kid.
Yeah. So the mom got rid of it. She's getting him a new desk, clear space, drawers underneath. So you might think the desk looks nice in the room for your child, but it might not be right for the child. So think about that too. That's why they're not comfortable.
What do you think about when it comes to TVs?
TVs in a room?
Yeah, for a kid.
That's a preference. I don't want to get into that. That's a preference with the parents. I don't know if it's a distraction to them. I mean, it depends how old they are. That's more of a preference for them if they think their child's distracted, even with the iPad and things like that.
Yeah.
But when you're working with just a quick tip, when you're working with them, if you're working with them this weekend, vacation, whatever it may be, no electronics, phones off, keep them in the room for the entire time. Don't let them bounce around the house. Let them focus, make it fun, and they will stay on task. I've been able to keep them on task. So they will if you make the conditions right.
If you make the conditions. Well, I was just curious because when people are organizing, you have the closet, you have the bed, you have the desk.
Yeah.
Some people put the TV in there. Do they put it on the desk? Do you put it on the dresser? You have it hanging. Some people have that kind of stuff. Some people, I would think, even kids have video games. Thrown into the mix. I'm just trying to think what other stuff.
I would keep it off the desk.
Okay.
I would keep it off the desk. Maybe put it on the bureau. And the nightstands too are a spot too you want to declutter.
Okay.
Sometimes they become junk drawers for the kids. I find gift cards. I find money. I find everything. So maybe they want to organize those a little bit to get them to be. Again, you want your children to be as efficient as possible. Explain to them the benefits of getting organized as opposed to this is why we're doing it. Just to get your room straight, and tell them they're going to save time. They'll have more time to play outside. They're going to have, in the long run, they're going to save money. They're going to be more efficient, more productive as adults. So explain to them the benefits as opposed to just saying go straight in your room.
Yeah.
Tell them why they're doing it.
It should be a fun process, and it should make them feel better.
That's
rather than
the end result.
Yes. A chore.
Yeah, that's it. Yes.
Awesome.
Right.
Kristin, thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Molly.
This was a pleasure.
You're
Let's
welcome.
take a picture before you go.
Sure.
I was here the other day and I was like, my phone updated. I don't know how to work this. I felt so silly. Awesome.
Thank you.
Great. Kristin, thank you
I'll
so
see you
much.
next week.
We'll talk to you soon.
Right.
More from Kristin MacRae, Organizing in Our Eyes. She writes for us every week on Go Local Prof, so you can catch all of her articles there. And of course, she's with us, so we're going to talk more about organizing your kids next week. So